Show, and today we're going to be exploring Blender. I am just as productive as anyone else. I am not filling this. Yeah, we're definitely going in and checking out, how to do some lathing. It's a technique where you make a profile of something that you want to make, especially things like bottles, bats, anything that has a cylindrical appearance. You could even do tires, right? You could do like a profile of it, and then you could rotate that. In Blender it's called screw. I think it's called screw, and some places it's revolve, but it's really like lathing, in real life. And yeah, we're gonna use that technique. We're gonna create like a model of a bottle. So let me show you what that looks like. I'm just gonna jump in here. Let's just get started. And let's not waste time. Let's get started with a lathing tutorial, making a bottle in Blender. I'm going to show you what I'm going to make. Okay, here we are. Okay, here I am. Right here. Hi, how you doing, guys? This is Nick. So this is what we're going to make. We're going to make a simple bottle in Blender. So let's get started. So first of all, you'd want to take like an image of it, or you could look online and get an image, because you're just using it for tutorial. You're not going to sell it to anybody, hopefully, or anything like that. Or you could take a picture with your phone, or with any of any cylindrical type thing. So I have this pretty nifty bottle right here. You could also take a photo of this bottle right here, Poland Springs bottle, or if you have any kind of water bottle, anything like that. Yeah, so I'm actually going to look this up online to see if I have an image, if there's an image out there already, rather than me taking a photograph with my phone. So let's check. Let's see if they have something like that out there. Oh. Okay, it's a specific bot. Oh, there you go. There's a picture of it right here. So let's take a look. That's kind of what I got right there. And that's what I want to make a picture of. Let's go to the website and see if there's a bigger image. Whoa. Oh, let's see. So there's he gets us. They're talking about he gets us. I think they're talking about Jesus, right? So yeah, Jesus gets us. So let's see what they have. Hats, t-shirts, stickers, about, gear. What else they have? Gear, hats, t-shirts, hats, stickers, about, gets us home. Let's see. Yeah, let's go back. Okay. So I'm just going back to this picture of the water bottle. Let's see. Is this a bigger image of it? Let's view the file. Alright. So I think I'm going to take a photograph of it right here at home. I don't see a good photograph online, so let's fire up Blender. I have Blender running. So let's fire up Blender. We're gonna do this, and we're gonna take a look at a couple other things. Like there's a plugin where you could generate like AI and that kind of thing. So yeah, so this is Nick here, guys. I'm gonna just jump off and do this. You guys don't need to see me. I think the green bear version of me is a lot better, you know, in terms of being more interesting. And just to do with glasses. So, yeah, I'm gonna take a photograph here with my phone. Okay, 1 second. I think I'm gonna want more of a blank background. To do this. Okay, here we go. And doing it with the phone is not really that good because most lenses on phones are kind of fisheye. So I think I'm getting somewhat of a decent silhouette in this. I'm taking another photo of it. Okay, it's a simple shape, guys. I could just literally look at it and just do it just off of just observing the shape. So I'm gonna put this on my desktop right now. Okay, here's my phone. I'm jumping. Let's see. Not the best photo, but good enough. Okay guys, so I'm just gonna dump this inside of okay, I'm gonna open it up so you guys can see what it is, and you can even grab a screenshot if you like. There you go. So that's, go ahead and grab a screenshot of that right here off of the video. Whoa. Let me bring that back up again. Coming back around again. Yeah, that's much more like it. Let me try to zoom in here a little bit. Get a nice and full screenish. Okay, so that's the photograph. So pause the video, take a screenshot, save the screenshot as an image, and we'll get started. I think this music is a little bit too brutal, so I'm just gonna switch over to something else. Okay. Okay, here we go, guys. We're gonna jump right in and start and get this going, okay? So there's many ways you could go about doing this in Blender. I'm just gonna show you one way. I'm gonna go with a basic way. So here we are in the Blender interface, right? And I'm actually gonna turn on my screencast keys here. There you go. Right, a bit in the face, and I'm gonna press 7, and that's top, 9 is bottom, 1 is front. So we're gonna go in the front view here. cleaning things up. Okay, we're going in the front view here, and we're gonna go and hold Alt. Let's do that again. Shift A. I'm gonna go image. You could go background image. Let's try background image. You could go reference image and all that. Let's just do background. So we click background image. And I'm going to go where I saved that image file of the bottle. Let's do this. It says bottle. And I'm just going to open that here. That's interesting. Notice how it's flipped. That's interesting. Let me check the original file. I don't know why did it come in flipped? That is interesting. Let me open it up with the Gimp. I think there's some kind of orientation thing being saved in with the, yep, you see, there you go, rotate it. So I'm gonna go rotate it. I'm just gonna save it back out to the Gimp. I think it's something to do with information on the phone about the orientation of the phone itself being saved with the JPEG. So I'm just going to save that out. Okay, so that's being updated there. I'm going to get rid of this. Let's try that again. Shift A. I'm going to go image, background, select that. Wow, it did it again. That's interesting. So I think we should be able to rotate this. Just like so. I'm going to rotate it at like 90. Oh, let's go back to here, just like that. R90. There we go. And while we're in here, I'm just going to grab Z. And I'm just going to put it like so. So you see, I put the edge of the bottle down here. Now we're going to have to do this a little bit different, right? We're gonna have to do it like straight, assume it's going straight across, do that edge and come up and all. We're gonna have to adjust the bottle because this is taken at an angle and not straight on. So we're gonna have to adjust for that angle. And this is good, right? This is good to learn it this way because when you're doing real production and you're doing things with real life and all that, you don't always get things laid out for you perfectly like in most tutorials, like what they like to do, you know. So I'm gonna go here in the if you go over to the outliner here in Blender to your right, you will see that there's a filter icon here. If you click on that, you could turn selectability on, turn that on, and then you turn off selectability on the background, and that's it. Alright, so you don't see it anywhere else, but if you press 1, it's there. Okay, and if you want to see my shortcuts or whatever it is, just look to the right here where it has the big mouse icon. It'll show you my shortcuts. Okay, so first thing we want to definitely do is to make start making this using a Bezier curve. And you don't need to use a Bezier curve. You could use different things, like you could use like a mesh and that kind of thing to do this. You could use a cylinder and start modeling the cylinder. It's all good, but I'm just going to show you the lathe way or the screw way. And the good thing about that way is that you could constantly adjust it after the fact, right? So there's a little bit of non-destructive stuff built in there. But before we move on, we want to make sure and try to get at the middle of this bottle as best as we could, right? So I'm going to turn back on selectability, grab that, G, X, and kind of try to move that more towards the center of what looks like the center of the bottle, right? Turn off selectability again. Okay, now let's get in here. So you're going to go with your little Shift A, and then you're going to drop your Bezier curve. Right? And the Bezier curve is lying down in the top view. That's this thing right here. Alright, I'm just going to go back into my select mode. Actually go into tweak mode in Blender, top left, press here, and go tweak, or you can just press W to get the different modes until you reach tweak. And we're going to do R, and we're going to press X, and we're going to type 90, and that gives us that profile of that curve right there. Now I'm going to press Control A right? And what that is going to do, we're going to freeze all the transforms we did on that curve. So we're going to go rotate and scale, freeze that. All right, now I'm going to press tab to enter into the editing mode. Whenever you're doing editing modes in Blender, you pressing tab. That's how you get there, right? So you have the Bezier curves in Blender comes with two points already. Make sure and press W for your tweak tool, and you select this one point, you move it out of the way. Select this other point, you move it out of the way. So we want to get this point here on the definite middle part right here. So you could just zoom in. You don't no need to make, no need to be overly complex on it, right? And we're gonna press A to select both of the curves. And you're gonna go just right click and let's click on handle type. Let's go automatic. So that's gonna help us with however we move it, the handles are gonna rotate the suit. So what are we gonna do? I'm gonna bring this point right all the way to the edge, and I wanted to kind of somewhat line up with the edge here, right? And there's several ways you could do it. One fast way, I'm going to show you the fast production way that I've learned. Anytime you want a straight line and you want to know if your point is on the straight line here, what you could do is to literally grab the image and slide it over, grab the viewpoint, slide it over by pressing your middle mouse, slide it over and see where the edge of that thing is and if your point is even there, right? So I'm gonna grab the point, Control X, bring it back. I'm gonna grab and bring this point to the edge of the user interface. Then grab the point, and then Z, and then X to move it across. And when it reaches the very edge of the screen, then you know you're somewhat in that vicinity. That's just a quick, dirty, accurate way of doing it, just to get it done quickly. Right, then and this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna hold Control, and then we're gonna click to where we want the next point to be, which would be, we want to right by that silver part there. And all this has got to be adjusted because the size of this actually is a little bit different. We're gonna adjust things after the fact. Then I'm gonna hit, we put it just before the straight line of the bottle changes, we put another point. And that's how you do like Bezier points, whether you're using Illustrator or anything else. You put it next to where the changes are happening, and you can put it in the middle between two changes. So like I'm gonna put it in the middle of this curve here, and then put it like the drastic change right here. And I'm gonna zoom in a bit. Hopefully you guys could see, right? And it's a black bottle, guys. I'm gonna put another point right here. You don't put too many points as of yet, right? And then we're gonna come by the neck. Right, and do that. Now you can see, if you zoom in a little bit more, there's like a bump here and a bump there. Now one bump is the cap. Now when we could just do this whole thing as a solid thing, and then when we want to add more detail, we could like separate out the polygons and add more detail to the cap and all that. So this comes down to like what we call industrial design or product design. So I'm going to bring the other point of the curve out to the edge here. Bring it back in here, bring it here, and now we're gonna hit that cover, right? Oops, and hold Control and click to get that there. There's a little bit of a bevel here, do that, Control click, right? And we come back straight, right? Now, this is where we start making decisions, right? So we're gonna bring this point here in the middle. I'm going to straighten them out by rotating this handle. Right, and the top here should be straight, so I want to make a point between here and here. This is why I'm doing it like this. So you're going to select the 2 points, and the 2 points with the handles. Right, you're going to select this point here and this point here, and I want a point in the middle here. So what you're going to do, you're going to press Control. Oops, sorry. You right click in here and you press subdivide, and that's how I do this. Now this point here and this point here should be on the same level. So what you could do is grab Right, let's make sure that our snap mode, we could put that in vertex, vertex, grab G and Z, cause I want to move it up and down in the Z, and I hold control to snap it to the same level as that vertex there. Same thing with the yeah, same thing with the handles. Oh, look at that handle. Okay, grab Z, snap it. Okay, so I want to create that beveled edge, right? So I'm going to grab that, grab X and bring it out. I think the bevel is happening somewhere like right here. Right? We could get rid of a point by pressing X and remove vertex, and it will just remove a vertex. So select these two here. I'll show you a way to break these things. So to give these nice little right angles and all that, which is probably the better way to go about doing it, right? You right click and you go select handles, right? Go vector and see how it broke that. It broke the angle off. Vector. Right? That's what we want. Right? Let's grab this, grab Z. I'm gonna bring it up. Let's grab, I'm just gonna X a little bit more. I'm gonna bring this up like about here. That's more like it. Oh, that's that nice little beveled angle right there. To get us even straight, we could do the same thing with here. You go vector, or you could go aligned. Let's come here. This is vectorized also, so this is straight with this. This is the under part of the lid, so we're gonna come straight as a right angle like that, straight as possible. And I think this bump is gonna be tight in here, right? So I'm gonna also come here and go vector. Just gonna bring this guy here, and let's bring this bump up here. Okay. Now when you're making curves like this, try like this. You try to envision like, it'd be cool to envision like a circle. And I'll show you what I mean by that. So if you come select this here, and I right click to bring the cursor. Now if I go shift and I do circle, and I rotate the circle back on the X axis, like so. And I scale the circle down. Whenever you're doing curves, it's good to like do something like this, envision it like curving like a circle like this, you know. But you could always adjust this stuff after. I'll just delete that. I was just using that as a show and tell type thing. Okay, so yes, I'm gonna try to make that as smooth as possible. And I want this point to be on the same level as that, so I'm gonna grab, and I'm gonna go X. I'm gonna do it until I snap here. Yep, that's somewhat there. Grab. And I'm gonna just bubble this up, bubble this a little more of a bubble to it. A little less of a thing here. Now this edge here, in real life, the edge is never 100% sharp like that. So we're gonna roll that edge and make it a little smoother. And the way I'm gonna do that, I'm just gonna come here, select these two here, right click and go subdivide. And I'll do that with this one here and this one here. I think this should be subdivided anyway here. So I'm gonna right click, subdivide here. All right, I'm gonna grab, I'm gonna turn this handle to automatic. So I'm just gonna grab and just go Z on that and bring it down. You see automatic compensates for when you move it. Right, so all these, I want all these points here on the same level. So I'm just gonna select the 3 points here. I'm gonna press scale, then X, and then 0 to bring them flush with each other. Alright, I want this point here the same distance as this point is right here, so I'm gonna go grab. I'm just gonna just eyeball it a little bit for the time. I'm gonna grab that point, and make sure these are on the same level by pressing scale on Y. Oops. This, and this, scale Y. What's going on here? Scale, oh. Okay, is that working? I guess so. Okay, so yeah, so this is this point here. I'm gonna bring this, grab X. I'm gonna, actually that's not scaled properly. Grab X. Oh, scale Z. Okay, maybe because I flipped it. Okay, I'm trying to bring these together straight. Okay, I'm gonna grab this guy, and I'm gonna delete this guy here again, X. I'm just gonna select this to get a perfect cut between here. Oops. Oh, okay. I'm gonna select these two. My bad, guys. Let me just get organized. Okay, so I'm gonna select these 2 points, right click, subdivide. So that's directly in the middle there, and I'm gonna bring this so it's almost the same distance. Grab. Okay. And I'm gonna change this here to automatic, and I'll bring that back, and I'll just move it in, kind of curve that edge. I'm gonna move this up a little bit. Let's just look at the points here. Okay, this has got, these things got to be straight, like so. Then it's got to be in the middle. You know, you could play around with that to see how good it looks to you. So there's an edge here. And guys, you could do this with any bottle that you have, right? It's not. So let's go here, click handle, go vector. I'm gonna make sure this here level is on the same scale. So S, X, 0. Just gonna grab X, move it along the X axis, so like so. Okay, so we're coming down here. That's looking pretty good. We're just kind of rolling off this edge. So we kind of obeying some of what we've seen in the picture a little bit, even though the image of the bottle is not perfect. It's not perfectly shot orthographically for us to do this kind of work. Now, if you want, and you know you have the mental fortitude to go through it, you could try to get a nice long lens and a good camera and shoot the bottle like as flat as possible so you get a perfect profile. But you know, just some observation. Your brain is a computer, right? So you could observe and you could try to flatten it as best as you can. And then if you have, then when you're doing it in 3D, you could just compare the proportions of the bottle and how far edges are and all that to get everything as straight as possible. That's the best way to do things, to train your eye to see things like that for production. So, okay, enough lecturing. I'm going back, so I'm gonna go here. Okay. I'm gonna make sure these two, actually this probably would be like so. I'm gonna select this one here, this one here, just make sure it's on the same level. Yep. Okay, so right here, see, this is wrong. So I need to bring this down to this edge right here, because this is where this edge starts. So this point here, I'm gonna grab him and go Z, bring him down. So just about where this edge is right here. And that's where this silver part starts, right? Now, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna bring in, okay, so that starts there. I wanna bring this, let's make this a vector, so it's nice and flat. I'm gonna grab X, move him so that he's lined up here. I'm gonna bring this to a point where we get that same edge, that curved edge like we did. So I think when the curve is half of this, it's curving within half of this metal thing. So like the whole length of the metal thing and half of it is rolling in. So we're gonna do that. We're gonna grab, I'm just gonna move this down to the pointer here, edge here. So I'm gonna subdivide this in half here. So the two subdivide, so this half, that's where the roll is gonna start, and then this part here. I think the bottom part is a little more than half. It's probably about like 3/4, but we'll see. It's supposed to have the same distance here and here. So right click, I'm just gonna subdivide. Oh, look at that. That's about the same distance. So I'm just gonna look, okay. So it doesn't, this part here doesn't roll in that much. So whatever half of this is, I'm gonna subdivide that again. Subdivide the half, I'm gonna get rid of that. So it rolls in from here and here. So I'm just going to go here, and we're gonna set the handle to automatic again. Select these two, select handle to automatic, and see that straightens out. I'm just gonna bring this up, go back to vector, like so, and then yeah. So I turned them to automatic just to get them, oh, that didn't work either, so I gotta flatten that back out. Okay guys, so turn these two to vector, flatten out the handles. I'm gonna grab a Z. I'm gonna make sure this is aligned 100%. Yep, aligned 100%. Okay. And yeah, this is how the bottle kind of rolls like this. It gives it that nice kind of it's gonna raise this a little bit higher. Grab Z. Okay. Okay. Okay, so that looks like a nice curve right there. I'm just gonna inspect all our curves. That's the one thing about this method. A lot of people probably don't like to do stuff like this per se in CG. They just do this nowadays, you know, you just go straight to poly modeling it like this, which is fine. If you're doing like industrial design, then something like this is kind of, learning this is kind of a little bit more critical, because you deal with a lot of like these nice edges, these nice lines and edges and all that. So let's see, I'm gonna just inspect the bottle. So this curve here actually comes all the way up tight. Right, so let's do something like this. I'm actually going to add a second point, a second thing here. Select those two, subdivide, so there's a second. I'm going to bring this guy over here so we could tighten that up. I'm going to select the two again and subdivide in the middle here again. Okay, so now I'm going to press Z to go into my wireframe mode, select wireframe. Oh, we're actually in wireframe already, my bad. We're just going to hide the background for a minute. I'm just going to look at this curve right here. I want to make sure I get a nice rolling curve. And this part here is supposed to belong to grab X. Supposed to be the same level as that. So we're gonna play with this until we get all this to roll nicely. When I mean roll nicely, to be all nice and smooth in there. Okay, we're gonna select this, we're gonna come back like so, come back this like so. Okay, we know this is not gonna move. And obviously, you know, when you convert this, when we convert this into a polygon, you could do adjustments after the fact also. But you know, back when all you had like was NURBS, you had NURBS to do this stuff. You know, you just could constantly adjust this profile until you get what you want. Now you could, you know, you don't have to get it perfect. You just do all that in Polygon, right? We're using Polygon, so I'm gonna grab and it's gonna go X. I'm just gonna pull this out a little bit more like so. Make it a little more deeper. I'm actually gonna bring this up a little bit. Okay, we're just taking a look here. All right, let's turn on the thing again. Let's just see. Okay. Okay, just gonna bring that. Bring this out a little bit. So gonna make this a little bit smaller so it's not as flat at the apex. Okay guys, so yeah, we're working this. Alright. Okay, so here we are. This is somewhat of a profile. Now, I'm watching this profile and I wish this whole thing was smaller, so this is what you could do. You could come in here and you could literally just hold control, select all that, and you could scale all that based upon let's select here first and let's move the cursor to active. Cursor's right there. You can select all this and you could scale all that, you know. So we're gonna select all that. We're gonna come up here instead of bounds, we're gonna go 3D cursor and then you're just gonna press scale. I'm just gonna bring that in and go all this in, something like so. Grab X, so I'm gonna make sure this is straight there. Yep. Nothing is wrong with tweaking things until they look visually pleasing. Half of and then you could do all, you know, you could really get in here technical and do this stuff, and that, nothing is wrong with that. But a good thing to do is to also train your eyes as 3D artists, so you could just quickly just fix some things. I'm gonna go fix some things. So I'm gonna subdivide and subdivide that. And then I'm gonna go over to automatic. Grab GX, bring that all the way over here. I'm just going to make a little bit of a beveled edge here. We're going to grab this here too. Subdivide. Grab. Bring this a little bit over. Actually, I'm just going to subdivide this and to incrementally move it over. Subdivide. I don't want to actually do that and subdivide here again. And I'm going to delete the extras. So we're gonna subdivide that like that. I think that's about that. And do the same thing for here. Subdivide. 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 Delete these extras. Oh, let's do extras. Yep. Let's subdivide this. I'm gonna leave this point right here. Okay, so I'm gonna go with this guy and this guy. Let's move this guy up a little bit. Okay, let's select the two edges. Let's go here. I'm gonna go Atom Automatic. Let's just bring this guy in like so. So there's a little bit of curve. Oh, let's leave him. I think we just have to adjust the outer edges. So there's a little curve to that. I actually think that all this would be a lot smaller and tighter from here. Okay, this looks like about correct. Okay. So you have a little bit of a rolling edge to that. We didn't need to do that. Could have saved that for polygon modeling, but trying to get this as close to the final result, and that's another good thing about, you know, it's like practicing this kind of stuff, how to get it close to the final result. Okay, so we can adjust the profile after the fact, which we have to probably do anyway. So here we are. So let's go into the 3D. You can just hold your navigation button. Mine's a shift. You'll rotate out of there and you'll see like your profile. You can select it. And this is a bottle profile, right? So now I'm gonna save this. Call this bottle. Save that. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna lathe or rotate or screw or whatever blender is calling. I think it's called screw. Oh, it was called screw. So okay, so we're gonna go generate. It's still called screw. So here you go. Just select screw and go shaded, and here you go. That's the bottle. One thing you want to do is to click back face culling to go up here in your. So okay, so what I did, I went up into my shading tabs up here. Viewport shading, and I select the viewport shading. There's wireframe shading here, right? And then there's solid, and then there's material preview, and then there's rendered. Click solid, and then click this little tiny arrow to the top right, and come here and turn back face culling on. Now what this shows you is that your bottle is inside out, right? So in order to fix this, you go here into the modifier, go normals and click flipped, and then voila, it's fixed. Now if you go into wireframe mode now, you'll see that there's a certain amount of polygons that make up the rotation, you know, the rotation resolution, right? So what we want to do is to come in here and look at this, right? So steps, if you turn the steps down, okay, that's how many steps it takes rotating around this way. So I'll turn this up to 32, and there seems to be a lot of steps to describe this, you know, in the other direction, right? So let's make sure for render we put 32 also. So for that, you have to go down here into this tab here where it has the object properties for the spline, for the curve that we did, and that's the curve resolution, right? So go back to the wireframe. We turn the curve resolution down. You see, look at that. It took away some of the resolution of our model. So let's put that at something like 3. You don't want it crazy like shaded to Kingdom Come. You just want it to almost be the same amount as it's being subdivided horizontally, you want it to also subdivide the same way vertically by changing this the right way. Now if you're going to shade it, you know, it looks pretty good, looks proper, right? Okay, so what else do we have here? So yeah, so this is a good step to getting pretty close to that model. Now, for the rest of this tutorial, we would actually continue in the next video, and we're gonna convert this into a polygon. As a matter of fact, we could convert it right now. So a good thing to practice, right? Now, because this is, let me clear up something. So because this is being done by a modifier, and if you press tab, you still have access to that spline that we used to make this. So that same spline, so you could go ahead and just adjust anything along this profile. Now let me split my view and I'll show you. So if I split the view here, oops, if I split the view by just clicking off this side and pull this over, right? And see, like, we go back into that. In this view here, we put it in as, you know, the front view, right? I'm gonna click here and click on wireframe, and here we have it shaded. Now you could go in here with your, you know, once you press tab, you can modify the bottle any which way you want, and it'll just, the bottle will be anything, you know. See if like you wanted the bottle to be a little bit fatter, you know, like wider or something like that. You could totally do that. You just, all you have to do is just select where you want it to be wider and move that. You can select like these points right here. Right, so you want that, and you can press, you could just move it across, graphics, and you can make a fatter bottle, like so. So with that said, you could literally just keep this and make a bunch of different bottles, and of course you adjust the resolution to suit, right? The resolution looks a little, you could make it more, you know, add more resolution to it. So we're gonna make a copy of this. I'm gonna hold shift and then press D, makes a copy, right? And then right click to send it back, and you see right here how it's, you know, how it's like two copies of the bottle right here. So let's hide the original one by pressing the I, and this one here, let's go Bezier Curve 2. Let's name this to bottle, and then underscore poly. Right, and I'm gonna call this bottle. Just call this one, call the top one bottle, B-O-T-T-L-E. Right, and this one here, we're gonna apply the screw, right, to this object. So you're gonna go to the right here, click this little arrow, press apply. Right, so it's saying that it can't really apply this onto a curve, right? So we have to convert this into a polygon. Now to do that, you have to make sure the object is selected, go object, right? And then there's a convert menu right here, and instead of curve, you press mesh. The shortcut for this, for me, is Alt C, but you just come in the menu like I did here and just click mesh, and all of a sudden it's a mesh. So now when you press tab, you have your mesh here to modify and to fix and do all sorts of stuff with, to get it to look like this. One fun thing I like to do, right, what we could do really quickly is to unwrap it and just add a really quick material so that we could see the material of this. This is what I like to do sometimes. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna press tab to get into the model, right? And then, you know, you're gonna press 1, 2, or 3. You know, we're gonna press 1 just to get an edge, and I'm gonna select one of these edges right here, right? But I'm holding shift and alt, and then when I click on the edge, it selects this edge right here from top to bottom, and I'm gonna mark this, right? I'm gonna mark this as a seam, and what is this going to do is going to split up the UVs for us, right? I'm gonna do it with a top cap also. like so. So I'm selecting the thing and it selects like that top cap ring. Then I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna right click and then we're gonna mark seam. Mark that as a seam. Matter of fact, you could unmark things as seams. You could select these edges right here and then I could right click. I'm gonna go clear seam. I don't want the seam to be like that. I want the seam to be like this. We're gonna do the same thing with the bottom. Select the very flat piece. So you're gonna hold Shift Alt, click on there, and it's gonna make a loop selection. I'm gonna right click, and then I'm going to mark seam. Oops, sorry, mark seam. And then this point right here, I'm gonna clear these seams. Clear seams. Right. So I'm dividing the bottle up into sections here. So I'm gonna do the same thing with the cap part right here. So remember that we had this as a separate cap piece. So in order to do that, I'm just gonna literally separate it. So I'm gonna go back into face mode. I'm gonna select a polygon here on the top of the cap. And I'm gonna hold Shift Alt and then do it again, and it made a ring. So now I'm gonna hold Control, press plus, and it's gonna select all. It's gonna select all the polygons that is connected to the original selection. And let's do it until you select most of what is supposed to be the cap of the bottle. So I'm gonna be careful and look down into the crease here and make sure it selects all into the crease. By holding Control and pressing plus on your numpad. So that looks good to me. Oh, I may have gone one too much. All right, I'm just gonna Control Z and that's it. So this is a cap. So what I'm gonna do, you press Y on your keyboard to separate that piece, but still leave it inside of your mesh. So press Y, like so. And now it's a separate piece. So now if you deselect it and you press L, you just select just that piece, and you can press G and you could grab it. You see, and it's its own thing. Try that. Y again. Oh, I didn't realize. Why did that get separated? G. Okay. L. Okay, so L is okay. Grab. Okie dokie. So yeah, so that's coming along pretty good. So let's continue to do some of this. I'm just gonna select this edge right here for the other metal piece on the bottom. Alright, and that's gonna right click and I'm gonna go mark seam. And you could, if you want, you could go ahead and separate that part too. So if you look at it, it's actually like a composite material, you know, where there's metal here and then there's something that's different in the bottle. So let's model that out. So I'm gonna go here and select that edge, and I'm gonna make a small groove in there. The way you make a groove in something like this, and we could have done that, made that little groove in using the profile, but let's do it in polygon. So you select one edge here, like I select that edge, you hold Shift Alt, click on the edge until it makes a ring selection, and then you press B to bevel. Let's make sure. Okay, let's do that again. Make a loop selection. Okay, yep, loop select, and then press B. Yep, and it bevels it, but you want the bevel to be very tiny, almost nothing, because you just want it. And then there's parameters here to control that here. So you see like the width right here. I could do my width like another 0 and a 1, just to make it like almost like nothing. Maybe that's too much like nothing. Let's make it a little bit bigger. Let's go 0.3. Okay, that's better. Because, you know, even in unless you're doing like straight up like industrial design type thing, you know, you shouldn't want to be so minuscule that it's not visible at all. But that'll just be a waste of, you know, especially if you're gonna render it. So I'm gonna go to faces. I'm gonna select this face, and I'm gonna hold Shift Alt. Oh, now this is where you gotta be smart with Blender. So Shift Alt, and if you select this edge right here between the two polygons, you should get that ring. Grab. Yep. Get that ring. And this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna extrude it. Press E. Right, but we're gonna right click to let go, and then we're gonna press Alt S, and then press S again, and then we're gonna move it in the opposite direction, so there's like a little groove in there. All right. Now, if you want to see what this looks like, let's go into wireframe. There you go. So it's kind of making like an inner lip, but we don't want the inner lip that far in, right? So you're going to do that Alt S again and press S to make sure it's even. And just going to move it in like a little bit. In order to get smoother increments, you hold Shift. Let's bring it in just a smidgen. Right? Like so. Alright, so if you press shaded, you realize that the shading here is kind of a little bit screwed up. And that's fine. And the way you could fix that, you could fix it several ways. Right, but let's fix it one way here. So I'm going to select the bottom part here and separate it also. Why are we in this mode? Okay, so I select the bottom part here, and I'm going to use the Control Plus also. Yep. Okay, so let's press Z and check wireframe. Okay, so I think we're in there. Let's come back out, go back to solid. If we keep pressing it, it should go back. Yep, select the bottom. So we just want to go back, press minus, back minus again, and we want to press Y to separate this. So this piece here now is now separated. So we press L to select it, deselect it, and press L, and do G for grab. Oh, wait a minute. Oh yeah, cool. Forgot that. L again. G for grab. Okay, so if it's still connected like that, let's press Y. No, D. Oh, yeah. Okay, there we go. Grab. There you go. Grab. All right. So, but what we want is that extra lip there, and what's preventing it is this mark. So I'm gonna reselect that. I'm gonna get rid of this mark, clear seam, right? And we could do the same thing with the top too. Ideally, the seam, you know, we want to put seams in places that you cannot see. So if I'm getting very technical for you, you could stop right now with what you've done so far. But for those who have the mental fortitude to continue, you can just follow me through with this. And so I'm just going to clear a seam here. Right, so there's no more seams. I'm going to put a seam on the inside. So in order to do that, I need to go into my wireframe and take a look. So yeah, there's already a seam in there. Actually, there's two seams in there. Let's just do one. So I'm going to select the inside here again. I'm just going to right click and go clear seam. Right click, clear seam. Okay. It seems to be somewhat okay. Okay. Let's try that again. Let's try try selecting this again. So. Okay. Yep. I think that's what we want. So I'm just gonna press P to separate. No, P, sorry. Y. Okay. There we go. So let's go back to shaded. Okay, so you notice there's funky shading, right? All right, one way you can get rid of this is like where like these edges meet right here, where there's like a definite edge. You should add another edge. So we're gonna go Control R, make a loop cut. I'm gonna bring that guy all the way down. All right, grab Z. Oops. Grab Z all the way down to that edge. If you want it to be dark, you could come in your side view here and just see where that edge is. This is why, you know, like the side views are good. You could see where the edge lands, and it's about the same thickness as the opening there, which is great. Right, and then I'm gonna do the same thing with the bottom cap. I'm gonna Control R and put the cursor on an edge right here, and you can get that loop and bring that up to it's about the same kind of distance away. Grab Z. If you finish do it, grab Z to move it along the up and down axis there. Right, so you see how the shading gets back better because there's more of a, you know, cut happening there. And that's one way to fix that. You know, we can fix it many different ways, but we're just gonna use this way for now. And then you get that micro edge where the materials meet. Okay, so let's just add the materials on the different parts, right? So we have two materials, if you remember, in here. One is like a black painted thing over, and then we have some exposed like aluminum, exposed stainless steel. So we're going to go into shading. Right, so I'm gonna go ahead and we're just gonna go new, and in slot 1 we're gonna call this metal. Oh, we're gonna call this metal, yeah, lowercase guys, metal underscore matte for material, and I'm just gonna make another material slot. I'm gonna press plus there. I'm gonna go new again and call this painted underscore material. Okay, and if we can remember, the painted one is black. So I'm not gonna go all the way black. I'm gonna go just a little bit above black, more of a charcoal black. And we're gonna go back into metal. And you can leave this white. Normally white works, but I'm just gonna bring this down to a little more of a gray. Right, and the way you apply these things is by selection, right? So you have to select where you want to apply the stuff. So the first one, let's just press A, select everything, and then I'm gonna apply the metal on all this, right? Oh, let's go here off to the right. Okay, here we go. Let's go assign. So assign assigns it to the entire thing. We press A to select all the polygons, and then you press assign, or whatever material you have it on, it's going to assign it to that. You know, we just want the painted part and the middle part. So if I press L, I should get all of the middle painted part. Yes, it looks like I got all of it. Okay, and I'm just gonna select the painted material and then press assign. There you go, see it's on that. Now, because we're in this mode, let's just go right ahead and go to slot 1 where the metal is, and let's just turn up the metallicness on the metal. So I normally like to go 0.95 and leave the specularity and turn the roughness down. The roughness is down too much. Let's just turn it up just a little bit. And you could, at this point in time, you could use your reference of the bottle. So I say like 0.25 is fine. Look at that, guys. Right, and actually the if you go into the painted, right, let's turn the roughness up just a little bit, 0.6. I think that's a little bit more like what's going on there. Now there's some weird shading happening here only because there's not enough cuts. We could do different things like actually we could change the shading of the normals. So with the bottle selected, the bottle partly what you're working on, let's just make sure it's saved. Okay, just saved. With that selected, go here in this object data tab, go down to normals and turn auto smooth on. And auto smooth is 30. Let's just leave it like that. You see how it kind of improves the look of it. Let's just add like a few more cuts there. Now in Blender, you don't necessarily have to go back out to the layout mode from shading. You could do everything in here. So let's just go back out here and let's turn on the shading, the shading material preview. And I'm just gonna make a few cuts here because it's kind of naked. And remember where things transition, it also likes loop cuts. So you do something like this and you bring this here, it's gonna like that. Right? But let's just bring this in the middle, divide this in two, like so, and let's just do this one here too, and not have big swaths of empty space. Right? It helps to describe that a little bit more. Right, and also right here for the cap, let's do the same thing. So divide that in two. Alright, this is subdivided to Kingdom Come if you really look at it. You don't need half of these subdivisions. So let's go back into the shading mode. Okie dokie. Yeah, still looks a little off there, but I think like the actual bottle looks like that where it transitions. So I'm just gonna bring another cut right here. Okay, just describe that edge more. That looks a lot more like it. Okay guys, so let's just do a little more presentation to this. So I press tab to come out into regular mode. I'm gonna press save, and I'm gonna go Shift A. I'm gonna lay down a plane. Let's just scale that up. All right, go back. As I said, you could model in Blender in the shading tab. You know, you can model anywhere. You could do anything you want in Blender. Basically, they try to make it as freeform as possible. So I'm gonna go E on that edge and Z to go up in one axis, and then in the Z axis, I'm gonna come out here. I'm just gonna go B to bevel. Roll my mouse wheel to get some subdivisions here happening. And then I'm gonna go R to get some subdivisions the other way, and roll that out. Right. And this is a nice kind of product layout sheet. Okay. Just gonna S and then X to scale that out there a little bit. Press A to freeze everything. Okay. Right, so now that we have this like this, let's just let's go a little buck wild here. Let's turn on the Eevee shading, and I'm going to go into my into the world properties right here. Click that, and we want to get an environment in here that's gonna brighten this up. So under color, instead of having a straight color, let's just add a sky. Let's go around 310 sky. I don't think that's very interesting, so let's try something different. So instead of sky, let's go to image texture. And in the image texture, what do you want? Oh, actually, hold on here. Make sure I'm doing the right thing. Environment texture, sorry. So we're going to environment texture, and this is where you want to look for environment textures. Now, there's a ton of environment textures online. Just look up environment textures and you'll find some online. Use anything that you would like. But I have a few saved, so I'm just going to use one of my environment textures. But, you know, let's not do that for now. Let's go back in and let's go to sky texture. Alright, and sun disk not available in Eevee. Okay, let's try these different things. Okay, okay, so this is like a global illumination default sky in Blender, which is pretty cool. Right, the stability, you put that at 2.2. The strength, you could turn the strength down a little bit. We can keep it on 1. But what we're gonna do, we're gonna add a sunlight into here. So you're gonna go Shift A, right? And you're gonna go light and then go sun. Right, and you have a sunlight in here. And this little point here controls the angle at which the sun is coming at you. And once you do that, you start to see a shadow, which is what you want. Now, let's just press G and then Z to bring the sun object up here, and let's just do that. There we go. Here we are. But because I have like a white thing here, it's not very interesting. So let's and because there's not much of an environment, right? So I'm just gonna tune down this white material here to go black. So black should not technically look like that. It's because of the influence of the sky. If we turn that down, we get some of that. So we need to gradually turn the sky up. Let's go 0.3. And let's just right click on this backdrop and go smooth that out. Let's right click on the bottle and also go shade smooth just in case. Okay, I'm going to select the sun here. Going to the sun, and we could turn up the sun strength. Let's try that. Here we go. Now, if you want a more interesting bottle or whatever, it might behoove you to use an environment like environment texture. So I'll show you what that will look like. Go back into world. Instead of the sky texture, go environment texture. And I'm gonna bring in my environment texture. So I'm gonna go open. Okay, so let's see. Let's go. Have an asset library. You know, and I suspect, and I suggest that you guys, assets that you regularly use for this sort of stuff, like environment, background, textures. You should also save. So if I go into my texture and I go into environment, and yeah, I have different like sky textures and stuff here I could use. Let's try some. Which one would I want to use? Let's just try one. Okay, that's kind of like a basic dull environment. Go to strength 1. Turn the strength up, it's too much. So you can control the strength for this. This right here is 0.5, is not much. And if you go like, it goes like 0.7. If I hide this backdrop, that's what this looks like. Turn your sun up to the point where you think it's good. I'm gonna add like another edge right here. Okay. So yeah, so this is it, guys. This is how we get started building that bottle there. And of course, you know, we could do some image projection to get the text back on there and all that sort of stuff. And then there's like there's some divots in here that we can model later using polygon modeling methods and stuff like that. The thing about I realize when you're doing metal, it's good to add like some warping to it. And I'll show you what I mean. So in the metal material, to get like really good metal materials is a whole thing. So I'll come here, let's just leave this like so. And what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna bring in like a texture. So let's bring in like a noise texture. Alright. I'm just gonna drop this in the drop the factor and the color right now. Just see what I have. Scale. So you could see this is the noise texture coming about right here. See that? This you can see the noise texture in it right here. Let me just zoom in really close and I'll scale it. Can you guys see that? Okay, so I plugged it in the base color just so I could see what I'm doing, and then I'm gonna use it in the normal map to give the metal a little more interest, a little more variation to it, because things are slightly warped when they're being metal is handcrafted, so things are so the reflections are slightly warped on it. Okay, so let's see. This detail is like 3, and the scale. Okay, getting the scale going. That's somewhat of a warped thing. Okay, roughness. Okay, so let's see what we have here for vector. We have texture coordinates, UV map, vector. We have mapping. So we still have that. Okay, we gotta continue with the mapping. Okay, let's see what we got here, guys. Here we have texture coordinate. Let's check that out. Generated. Okay, so we're back. Okay, so this is the size of it. So this is what you have to do. And then what you do, you bring a bump node. Vector bump. Drop that in the normal of the. Bring the factor in the height, and that's what you get right there. And it's determined by the scale of this thing. Alright, you just want a little warp, not too much. You bring the strength down. You could just turn it off to see if it, you know, turn back on, and then bring the strength back up a little bit. There you go. Let's bring this that's 1. Alright, that's just a little thing that I picked up. You see it gives it like a slightly warped feel, you know, so you could turn that down 0.2. Turn down that effect, right? But that's, you know, for metals, that actually works out, you know, really well. Well, let's just change the environment here. Make the environment also a little bit more interesting. I mean, hey, we'll call that, there you go. We'll call that you know, we call this a bottle. So yeah, this is xsinick. Let's put this color back to like a gray. And this is yeah, this is us modeling that do my strength, sun strength back up. There you go. That's better. That's 3. Okay, guys. Oh, that's my HDR. Oh, my HDR should be 1. There you go. Yep, there's my sun. Oh, there's the sun. Yep, that's 3. And the angle. Okay, guys, so that's it for now. This has been xsinick, and we're working on this thing. We're gonna do more to it, and I'll see you later. This is part 1 of that bottle, of, you know, modeling a pretty cool bottle. And thanks for joining me, and I'll see you guys in a little bit. Let's pick up tomorrow and finish it off. Have a good night.